went and got an oil change and stuff. So, I decided to work day shift today. So I work 4 hours on day shift, and then I'm going back to my regular shift tomorrow. So I just wanted to put out some materials, not materials, since I'm at materials, since I'm gonna have multiple videos. I mean, you got to be correct with your pronunciations. It's not going to be material, because that's one item. I'm putting out materials. But nevertheless, Floyd did an interview, I think, with Ben Thompson, because I recognize Ben Thompson's voice. And I briefly spoke with Ben Thompson from Fight Hype. Basically, Floyd was talking about, of course, Floyd found a way to make it about himself, as he cleverly does. Floyd will find some way to make it about himself. Now, I did a video like last week, and I was talking about Terrence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather in a fantasy matchup. Everybody just have this notion that Floyd Mayweather would actually blow through Terrence Crawford, but I'm not sure about that. I got to keep it 100. A lot of people have basically said this and suspected this about Floyd for a minute. Floyd never really fought a prime black fighter. I mean, would it have made a difference? I don't know. But it would have helped solidify his case for him being TBE. Like I said, I do think Floyd is an all-time great. At the end of the day, nobody beat more champions than Floyd Mayweather. But just this notion that Floyd would just blow through Terrence Crawford, I think this is what you call being a prisoner of the moment, or drinking too much of the Floyd Kool-Aid. And we all know in the black community, we known for putting too much sugar in our Kool-Aid. Me myself, I don't do it. Even though I haven't drunk Kool-Aid, I think I haven't drunk Kool-Aid in about, I can't even remember the last time I had some Kool-Aid. I think I haven't had Kool-Aid in like over 10 years. But I think when you hear people just put this notion that it would be an impossible task for Terrence Crawford, I'm telling you, Floyd Mayweather at 35 versus Bud Crawford at 35 would be a hell of a fight. But there was this thing with Floyd not wanting to fight prime black fighters, and whether you like it or not, this is factual. I mean, the box recs don't lie. At the end of the day, Floyd Mayweather was 33 and Sugar Shane Mosley was 38 when they fought. Excellent fight, great fight. Floyd beat up Sugar Shane Mosley, but you can admit that Sugar Shane Mosley was a little bit out of his prime. Now, if you want to, if you want to include Miguel Cotto in the mix, because Miguel Cotto is considered an Afro-Latino, or whatever the case, or considered, a black Hispanic. Miguel Cotto, you got to keep it 100. He was never the same after that first Margarito fight. And he managed to put it together, and then he took a lot of damage in the Manny Pacquiao fight. So, all I'm saying is just factual stuff. I told you I don't follow no script, and I told you I don't do what people want me to do and say what people want me to say. I told you I function on my own. I'm my own entity, and I'm not dissing nobody, but I'm just keeping it a buck. People don't want to have real conversations, and this myth of Floyd Mayweather, like being able to beat any and everybody, I think that's a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I think that's a fake falsehood. Paul Williams would have gave Floyd Mayweather fits. It doesn't matter whether he was knocked out by Sergio Martinez, but Paul Williams would have gave Floyd Mayweather fits just because of his height and his length. Do I think Floyd Mayweather would have been able to do enough to put it together to win the fight? Probably so. But this notion that Floyd Mayweather would destroy Terrence Crawford is just It's just crazy. And I think you're selling Terrence Crawford short. And for people to say Terrence Crawford is delusional, saying that he could beat Floyd, it just appears to show your fanboyism. Like I say, I do the eye test. Yes, Floyd is a good defensive fighter, but based off how Terrence Crawford fight and Terrence Crawford, how sound he is on offense, Floyd would have had to fight Terrence Crawford like how he fought Cotto, which would have made him vulnerable to some Terrence Crawford punches. So at the end of the day, the notion Terrence Crawford would have just got dominated by Floyd Mayweather, I don't see it that way. Now I know somebody gonna see this and get mad and all this kind of stuff, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm willing to come on any outlet and debate why I think Terrence Crawford would have gave Floyd Mayweather a tough fight, and there is a possibility that Terrence Crawford would have had enough to defeat Floyd Mayweather. And as far as Andre Berto go, well, I mean, Andre Berto was Andre Berto. But Floyd wasn't lining up all these black fighters to get in the ring with him. And this is just factual. Like, I don't know why people get so mad when you bring this up. But we all know Floyd wouldn't have fought Terrence Crawford. Floyd Mayweather could have fought Keith Thurman. And he elected not to for whatever reason. The biggest mistake Floyd made was letting Manny Pacquiao fight Keith Thurman, and then Manny Pacquiao beat Keith Thurman. Because that's why some people will say, well, Manny Pacquiao is better than Floyd Mayweather because he beat Keith Thurman. Now, to be fair, whether we like it or not, I mean, you know, Keith Thurman hasn't been the same fighter in like the last 7 years. Keith Thurman has had injury after injury. He's had a lot of time off. But the funny thing is about Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao, I thought Keith Thurman did enough to beat Manny Pacquiao. Keep in mind, Manny Pacquiao won a split decision over Keith Thurman. No, I'm about to talk about that in a minute. But I wanted to get the Floyd thing out the way. But no, I'm just saying, I'm just keeping it a buck. Like, anybody that see this video, I'm willing to come on your outlet and discuss why Floyd Mayweather would have had fits with Terrence Crawford. All this notion that Floyd Mayweather would have dominated Terrence Crawford, I'm sorry, I'm just not buying that. It's the same argument that you have about Michael Jordan, about whether Michael Jordan is the true GOAT. Like, Michael Jordan has a few records, but then you look at the history of the NBA, what significant records Michael Jordan hold? Because we all know the scoring champion is LeBron James, three-point champion is Stephen Curry. I think assist, I forgot who. Is John Stockton still the all-time assist leader? I haven't checked in a while. So that's, you know, it's always an argument. One thing you can say when it comes to Jordan and Bill Russell won championships as a coach and a player simultaneously. When did Michael Jordan ever do that? And people could talk about Bill Russell's numbers. Yeah, Bill Russell had a career average of 16 points per game. Doesn't matter how he scored them, he scored them. And keep in mind, they didn't really have league MVPs. They didn't have finals MVP until like after he retired. So there you have it. But now let's discuss what Floyd Mayweather said in the interview with Fight Hype. He was specifically talking about because I call this a fantasy matchup between Tank Davis and Inanu, or Inoue, whatever you want to call him. Now, I am going to ask, now, as you guys know, I will be going to Arizona to cover the Valdez-Noravate fight. I'm going to try to get the Bob Arum as soon as I get there, because I'm definitely gonna ask Bob Aaron. But somebody, you know, my fellow colleagues, media colleagues, they watch my stuff. Somebody will beat me to it. If it isn't Marcos, it'll probably be Ellie, or it'll be Sean from Fight Hype. I'm cool with all those dudes. I don't have no problem with Ellie. I don't have no problem with the guys from Fight Hype, because I'm actually cool with them. I don't really have no problem with Marcos. So, you know. But I am going to see, could I ask that question? Would Bob be willing to make that fight? And now it could get to the point to where now we could have a reverse, where now it could go back and forth and be like, oh, well, Al Haymon needs my guy to make money. So Bob could go back to saying, hey, well, we were trying to make fights with you guys. You guys didn't want to make fights with us. And then based off the fact that you lost your network leverage, now you guys need us. Now, if Floyd Mayweather and Al Haymon is interested in making Tank versus the Monster, because Floyd said he should fight him at a catchweight. So I'm thinking to myself, what would be the catchweight? The Monster is only at 122. Now, some people gonna say, hey, that's not fair, because you haven't really seen the Monster. Well, he doesn't speak English. I haven't heard anything come out of his camp that they're interested in the Tank Davis fight. I think what it's coming down to is, you know, Ngannou is 122 pounds. Tank is between 130 and 140. So what would be the catch weight? What, a catch weight of 132? So basically you would be asking Ngannou or the Monster to basically come up like anywhere between 8 to 12 pounds. Is it a sellable fight? Yeah, people would watch it, because it would be an intriguing fight, because Ngannou is starting to develop a following, and Tank, he already has a following. But you have to admit, from a boxing standpoint, as far as who do you think would win, Tank probably, worst case scenario, would be like a 5-1 favorite, because you have to wonder would the Monster's power carry up to the 130s. So if they're interested in making that fight, it's because that Al Haymon believes and Floyd believes that Tank has a more than exceptional chance of winning that fight. They knew, like I said, they knew he could beat Ryan Garcia, because everybody saw Ryan Garcia's flaws, and they knew all it was going to take. As long as Tank didn't get too cute, they knew he'd be able to, in all likelihood, stop Ryan Garcia. And they figure the Monster is a smaller guy. Now, what's going to happen is the fans and the supporter of the Monster going to be like, hey, that's not fair to ask him to just come up and so you know give up so much weight. Because if you thinking about Tank, even if Tank agrees to fight at a lower weight class, Tank only would be sacrificing like 5 pounds at best if they say, okay, we'll fight at 130. But then you got the Monster, he's sacrificing and giving up, basically having to give up going up like anywhere between, you know, 8 to 10 pounds. If he goes up to 130, he's giving up. If he goes up to 130, he's giving up 8 pounds, going up 8 pounds. If he fights at 130, if he fights at 132, you're talking about 10 pounds. If they fight at a catch weight, let's just say we'll fight at a catch weight of 130, you know what I'm saying, 134, then you talking about, you know, I'm just saying, that would, you know, that's kind of asking a lot of that guy. And I just got to tell the truth. Well, if it was to happen, it would be one of them fights. It'll be one of them fights they would just disregard it. Kind of like what they tried to do with Kell Brook, but you can't disregard it because it's going to be on your official record. So, you know, that's what a lot of the Errol Spence brigade tried to do when it came to Kell Brook fighting fighting Errol Spence. Kell Brook asked for at least additional, I think he asked for additional 90 days just for extra preparation, and basically Team Spence wouldn't allow him to. And then they ended up fighting, and Kell Brook, he gave Errol Spence all he can handle. Errol Spence ended up getting the stoppage, but that fight could have went either way because it was very close. So it could have went if Kell Brook doesn't get dropped and Errol Spence doesn't get the stoppage. Who knows? Errol Spence might have been in jeopardy of losing that fight, or he might have got a draw, or he might have got a split decision win, or Kell Brook might have won a split decision. So you never know. Come on, Chase. You know why they want. You know why he's saying Errol Spence should go up to either 160, because basically they trying to sell and try to, pre-promote a possible matchup between Errol Spence and Canelo. This is why I don't believe that Errol Spence, I believe that it's a 50-50 chance that he goes into a rematch with Terrence Crawford. Because here's the thing. If we could get you a couple of light touches, and let's say Canelo have an outing, another questionable outing. Let's just say let's just say that Errol Spence, they give him a soft touch at 154. Let's just say, okay, we'll put you in the ring. Like I said, there's options out there. There's a second fight with Danny Garcia. There's Lara. There is Jose Benavidez Jr. So there's a few options which would be considered a low-risk fight for Errol Spence. He looks good in that fight. And then let's say they try to say, okay, well, we gon' fast forward you. Okay, we'll get you a fight at 160 and find like a soft touch for him at 160. Let's just say he looks good, he gets a stoppage or whatever. Then his fans will say, oh, Errol Spence is back. It's because of the weight. Look how strong he looks at 154. See, I know the play. And then they set up the Canelo fight. But from what I've been hearing, that Canelo is off the cards as of right now for Errol Spence. I do feel like Errol Spence can bounce back, but not going into an immediate rematch with Terrence Crawford. That, to me, would be disastrous for him. But that would be the plan. Yeah, listen. I've been doing this for a minute. You don't think Floyd and Al Haymon having discussions about this on how to reinvent Errol Spence? And shout out to Errol Spence. Errol Spence is chilling and he chilling in Spain, wearing shades, which means his eyes haven't all the way healed up. So yeah, as far as the monster fight go with Tank, yeah, they believe that's a winnable fight. But the question is Top Rank willing to do business with them? Now the thing is with the monster, and Mark is right, the monster needs to get back in the ring, and he needs to fight in the States. He has to become an international brand, which means he's going to have to fight. His next fight needs to be in Vegas or Madison Square Garden. It's just no way Tank is going to go to Japan, because Tank doesn't have to. The only way Tank would go to Japan if they offered Tank maybe 60 or 70 million dollars to go out there, then Tank, yeah, I guess Tank would probably go out there. But Tank could make that kind of money fighting him in the States as well. Because one, they could put that fight, they could put Monster and Tank in Allegiant Stadium, and I think it would do numbers. So now what they have to do now with the Monster based off the fact that the Monster looked impressive in his knockout of Steve Fulton. Well, they gotta find somebody else to make him look even more sensational, because at the end of the day, he got that belt. So the Monster is considered a pound for pound fighter. So to sell a possible matchup between these two, they got to make it look sellable. So Top Rank has to find somebody for the Monster to continue to look impressive against. But at the same time, they have to match it to where he doesn't look bad or look vulnerable, because if they plan on making that fight, going into this fight, Tank's undefeated, he's undefeated. So they have to make it some way look like the Monster might have a slight chance against Tank, which I don't think he does. I think if him and Tank fight, I think Tank knocks him out. I think Tank knocks the Monster out probably within 4 rounds. To be honest with you, I don't think that fight, I don't care what weight it's at, I don't think that fight should last no longer than 5 rounds. But at the end of the day, it presents the opportunity for them dudes to make a, piss pot full of money. So like I said, for a fight like that, you have to be able to sell it. You got to get the fans to believe that it's a fight that they should buy. And then you gonna have these people that's prisoners of the moment, and then I'm just gonna keep it a buck. You gonna have these people that's so impressed by seeing the Monster knock out Steve Fulton, and due to the fact that Steve Fulton was a black guy, and then this whole notion of the slick black fighter, people gonna buy into that. So the suspect of racists and white supremacists and haters of black people and black fighter, yeah, they'll sign on to something like that. But you have to carefully put it together. See, I told you, I go directions that nobody don't want to go. And like I said, it was an impressive victory that the Monster had over Fulton. That's just real talk. And then as far as Steve Fulton go, talking about, well, there was some issues as far as his training went, that he didn't train correctly. Well, that's on Steve Fulton. If Steve Fulton didn't train correctly, that's on him. He signed the contract. That's it. That's all. And then due to the fact that they sat up there, they was talking about they wanted him to have certain type of hand wraps. He complied, and he still knocked him out. Who trying to be on TikTok? I ain't on no TikTok. What are you talking about? I've been doing live since I've been on here. What are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? Yeah, that's a big reason why he has to fight in the States. Like, who want to be for real? Who want to be sitting up watching a fight at 5 o'clock in the morning? A lot of us are either coming home from work or preparing to go to work. So that's another reason why he has to fight in the States. But all that is going to be addressed, because I'm gonna ask Bob Arum those questions. But yeah, the PBC, they believe that that's a winnable fight for Tank. And they're just looking strictly at size. They're looking strictly at size. They figure that Tank is going to have a size advantage. And then more than likely, it's not going to be a rehydration weight clause. So Tank probably, let's just say Tank agrees to fight him at 130. Tank will be whether people like it or not, Tank is going to be the A side. He's gonna be the A side, and that's factual. And anybody that thinks otherwise, you're just delusional. You know, the only way Tank is not the A side. Like I said, if they offer him, like, if the people in Japan who want to like put together the fight, which Japan, they got big bread. They do got big bread out there, and they got, like, for real, they got big bread out there. So they can offer Tank a super bag, but it's gonna come down, do Tank want to do that? But in all likelihood, they will demand that fight be in the States. But then the funny thing is, Bob Arum may, if Al calls him, he gonna be like, "Hey, Al, I tried for years to settle this stuff between us. I tried to make fights. You didn't want to make the Terence Crawford fight. You didn't want to make Danny Garcia versus Terence Crawford. We tried to make these fights." So I don't know how Al Haymon sounds, but I know how that's probably what Bob, why should we give you the monster? When basically we could just basically keep promoting him in Japan and bring him into the States and sell him as an international commodity. So then we could have, now we once again, we back at square one. We got a stalemate. Now if the monster says, you know what, Bob, make the fight, you know, I want to dare to be great, whatever the hell that means. It won't be daring to be great, it'll be you getting the bag. So that's why. Well, that's what I'm saying. You got to remember, even in sports, these people hold grudges and stuff. So, like I said before, now you could have Bob Arum, like, basically, you know, trying to leverage Al Haymon, saying, okay, well, we need certain things to happen for this fight to be made. You don't think Top Rank is going to require certain amenities and certain things for PBC, because they're going to be saying, okay, well, we hear that you need big pay-per-view fights anyway, because you allegedly have to pay back the $300 million that you borrowed. So you have to pay whoever you borrowed the $300 million from, and you have to put together certain fights that's going to turn a profit. Terence Crawford versus Spence turned to profit. Now, will David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade turn a profit? David Benavidez ain't where he need to be as a pay-per-view star. He's trying to get there. David Benavidez is one of the most marketable fighters out there, but the problem is he's still relatively unknown. But David Benavidez has been doing a good job trying to get his name out there, because he understands promotion and trying to promote yourself. Same thing with Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is doing what he's supposed to do, getting his name out there. What fight? Demetrius Andrade in Arizona. Yeah, I would be up for that, but I don't know if you know. David Benavidez is a PBC fighter, and the PBC has ostracized me, so they pretty much have banned me from, like, covering any of their fights. The PBC don't mess with me. The PBC refuses to credential me. So if I was to go cover that fight, it would be basically as a civilian, or it would just be uncredentialed media. But that I would be up for that. But like I said before, are they going to make any money? What would be the trajectory? You know, what would be the trajectory? What would be the numbers? I mean, let's just keep it a buck. Demetrius Andrade is relatively unknown outside of boxing, unless you a boxing purist. Good fighter, but at the end of the day, you really didn't see dude very much, because you know he just don't have a following. As good as a fighter he is, he just don't have a following. Now David Benavidez is developing a following, so if that fight was to happen, David Benavidez would be expected to carry the fight and the pay-per-view on his own. Now, due to the fact that he has, you know, Mexican DNA, he might could bring in a decent amount of Mexican spectators to watch the fight. But like I said, that's just a hard sell. I would watch it. But if you thinking about pay-per-views, unless you just basically willing to just say, okay, we just gonna make this pay-per-view to just get it out the way, and then hopefully the next fight, you know, people will tune in or at least hear about this fight, and then they'll be willing to try to buy the next one. So that could be the overall plan. Oh yeah, Canelo shamefully ducked Demetrius Andrade. Nah, that's not true. That fight could be made. That fight could be made, because let me tell you how I'm telling you how they gonna flip it. Because even if Ngannou loses to Tank Davis, it's sort of like the same thing with Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, from losing to Tank, actually it made him even more popular, and now he has a even bigger following, because they're gonna say, well, he dared to be great and he tried to fight one of the best fighters out there. And the same thing is gonna happen with the monster. He's not expected to beat Tank. Now if he by some miracle he beats Tank, then he's the dude. He's on top of the world. He's not expected to beat Tank. So basically how they could spin it, let's just say he fights Tank and he loses to Tank, they're going to say, well, he dared to be great by jumping up so many weight classes. So he has the heart of a warrior. He's you know, that's how they'll spin it. It'll be a win-win situation for the monster regardless. He'll have an even bigger fan base, because people will be sucked into the notion of saying that, well, he took a chance, he took a risk, and then this will be this thing. Oh, well, this is what he's a throwback fighter. He took chances and all this kind of stuff, because, like I said, he's not expected to win. Yeah, that's true too. Another reason why Canelo's popularity, you know, why he had a popularity boost, because Canelo learned to speak English. But people told me behind the scenes Canelo knew how to speak English anyway, and a lot of people say Canelo speak better English than he lets people believe. And it's the same thing with Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao speaks perfect English. Like when Manny Pacquiao do those interviews, Manny Pacquiao English is way better than what he lets people believe. Canelo can speak better English than what he makes people believe. Canelo was learning English back in 2000. I saw Canelo learning English back in 2014. And now that Canelo does interviews in Spanish and English, well, guess what? More marketable. Now you see him doing the Modelo commercials and all that stuff, speaking English. That's why you see Canelo on Complex, dropping 19,000 on some kicks. So yes, you are absolutely correct. He is going to have to learn how to speak English. Yeah, I mean, if you go to the Philippines, they speak English. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, Manny try to act like he doesn't understand certain words, but he does. But yeah, I agree 100%. The monster is gonna have to learn how to speak English. You're not gonna be a household or international name if you only can speak well the language of your native country. So he has to. That is absolutely correct. Once Canelo started doing more interviews where he was speaking English, look where it got him. Now he doing golf, charity golf events with Stephen Curry and all that kind of stuff. He got all these endorsements. You know, he's been featured in movies. You've been hearing about Canelo got a couple of movies lined up, a couple of action pictures. That's just a rumor, and they're going to be English speaking films. So yeah. Yeah, the monster is small, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a win-win situation if he jumps up in weight and he fight Tank. He's not you need to understand that, Chase, which I think you understand. He's not expected to win. But due to the fact, you got to understand, it's the marketing, how they're going to sell this fight. He's going to be marketed as a dude that took a chance. And even if he loses, he'll be celebrated. Now, in Tank's case, might not go so well for Tank, but at the end of the day, Tank will make life-changing money. But it's a big fight. And the reason why Floyd is saying this, because they believe Tank can win that fight. So I'm gonna find out this weekend. I may wear some shorts to Arizona because I heard, well, then again, maybe not, because I heard people falling on the ground and getting burnt. It's so hot out there, so I'm definitely wearing a t-shirt. I ain't wearing no jacket or nothing, so I definitely will be wearing a t-shirt. But we'll see. I'm gonna have to, that's funny you bring up Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. is one of the most interesting specimens of a fighter when you really break down Roy Jones Jr. And if Roy Jones Jr. would have been able to make just minor adjustments as he got older as a fighter, instead of always being a combination guy to set up the hook, if Roy would have learned how to be more systematic with his attack as he got older, if he would have learned how to fight like Floyd, Roy probably wouldn't even have all the losses that he had. But there was always issues about his chin, and you started to see when Roy got a little bit older and his reflexes started to abandon him as he got older. But yeah, good point, man. But I'll be back with more later on. I'm out.